I think you just need to get those turned into lenses so that you can read.
Hey everyone, it's Ande Lyons, and welcome to my launch party for Possibility Partners. I am now called the Chief Possibility Officer. And Possibility Partners is where I'm sharing my Andy-licious advice with entrepreneurial adventurers. This is hardcore business strategies and solutions with my special dose of inspiration and enthusiasm because I have been rocking the entrepreneurial adventure journey for well, so many years, I'm sure older than most of you people are watching, right? But anyway, for 25 plus years, and there's just nothing I haven't done as an entrepreneur. So I have a much lighter understanding of the adventure and the experience. So I like to bring the fun and enthusiasm and the deliciousness to my absolutely rocks are hard, water is wet tips and tools for business, whether it's a 12-month cash flow that I customize for you and your business, to helping you launch a podcast or doing a social media audit, whatever it is you need, or just sitting down and brainstorming. You know, entrepreneurial journeys can be a little on the lonely side, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Turn to your dog or the plants when you need advice? And so often we have to show our employees, our vendors, everybody, how, you know, that we're leaders and we're keeping the positivity going on. So anyway, I'm rocking my Elton John sparklies, but I have to switch because, Lord, I can't see a thing. But they are kind of fun, right, with the boa? So I have a great group joining me today in the Hangout to help celebrate, and I'm so thrilled that they could all join me. I'm going to introduce them to you in just a second, but before I get started with that, I just have to say, how many of you find it hard to celebrate what you're doing, your achievements, your woohoo moments, right? I have the hardest time. I would rather shine the spotlight right on you and celebrate everything that you're doing than do it for myself. But I saw Barbara Walters. I don't know if you saw her last interview, but she brought up a really good point. She said, you know, everybody's always asking me, why do you promote your show so much? And she said, well, you know what? I worked really hard to pull together some amazing content and an amazing experience for everybody. I need to tell them, I've worked hard. Here's this. Watch it. And I thought that is a good lesson for us all. So I'd love to introduce you to everybody in the room joining me today. And they're going to give you a brief how-do-do, tell you where they're hailing from, and then a little bit about their own entrepreneurial adventure. And so let's see, Blair, how are you doing with your sound? Do you have sound, darling? Oh, no, she doesn't have sound, everybody. Ah, dang. Well, BlairGlazer.com, I'll tell you about her because she's so rockin' awesome. She does relationship help and wonderful, I know, for business, for couples. She just is one of the best relationship experts out there on every level. And I love how she works in the world. She's amazing. So, Blair, I'm sorry about the sound. You know, HOAs, they're new technology. Not always working for all of us. And now I'm going to take you to Cherie Valentine. Hey, Cherie, where are you hailing from?
I'm hailing from the seacoast of New Hampshire in Hampton.
And tell everybody about your business, because you've got a fun business.
I do, and I love it. I'm a soul mentor for entrepreneurs, and I help you to grow your business and your life in harmony with your soul, which has been so much fun helping other entrepreneurs realize who they truly are and what their business is, and doing it their way rather than the way everyone's been telling them to do. And it just wasn't working for them. You know, it just wasn't lighting them up. And now they're doing things that light them up and enjoying their life and making it all work together.
Ah, how cool is that? I love that. Thank you, Cherie. She also has this really cool EFT tappy hour. I'm just saying for folks. I just think it's rockin' awesome. All right, Deborah Oakland, who is up and she's awake and she's hailing from
Laguna Beach, California.
Yay! And share with everybody your wonderful work in the world.
My work is Living in Courage, and I have a website, livingincourageonline.com. What I do is I call it a spiritual oasis for overcoming life's biggest challenges. And I work with people in and around courage, and have just written a book that will be published soon. So I write.
She's really good at it, and she's one of the most inspirational people you will ever meet. If you're feeling one of those low moments as an entrepreneur, hop on over to wherever Deborah is sharing, because she'll cheer your wonderful self right up with all her wonderful words. Thank you, Deborah. And now we have Kaylin. Oh, you're muted, I think.
Am I muted?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. First of all, I only dress like this for you, Andy. This is not my normal. It's the opera gloves and the tiara. This is not the way I normally go to work. So I am Kaylin Amadeo. I am the host and creator of Act Local Marketing for Small Business podcast, which you can find at actlocalmarketing.com and on iTunes and Stitcher. And I help really baby boomer business owners and business professionals figure out their whole digital marketing piece. It can be very confusing, and knowing where to spend your time and effort is a big challenge for them. Of course, if you're not over 50, I won't hold it against you. But being a boomer myself, I like to help my people. So we figure out their digital marketing.
Absolutely. And, social media can be mastered by anyone. It is really not for the young. There are women, and as Kaylin will exemplify, there are women and men everywhere over the age of 50 who are just making amazing, amazing differences in the world via social media.
Yes.
Thank you, Kaylin. And look at this, Lisa Angles, one of my Google Plus faves. How are you doing, darling?
Hi, Andy. It's great to be here. It's sort of early in the morning, so I'm still drinking my cappuccino. You guys might be on to champagne with Possibility Partners, but I'm still needing the caffeine this morning.
Well, I am loving the beret and the beautiful scarf boa that you've got going on for your festive wear today. Thank you.
It's actually a vintage hat from Santa Cruz. California, little vintage store there. So I, at one point, was really into hats, and this is what still remains of my hats.
That's great. So tell everybody what you do, because you do some remarkable things.
So I'm the founder of Inner State Coaching. That's the name of my business, and it's sort of it's interesting, along the same lines as you, Andy, have recently really shifted the focus of my business to working with visionary leaders. So I help visionary leaders and emerging thought leaders to create radical change in the world by first creating radical change within themselves. I believe that all of us are actually visionary leaders, whether you're a visionary leader in your family or in your community or a global visionary leader. It's just that sometimes we don't know how to express that, and we don't have the tools and resources to, like I think Maya Angelou had a real thing around courage and being courageous and get the courage to go out there in the world and do what it is that we're here to do, or primarily the awakening of human and social potential.
I love that. Oh, thank you. And thank you for hailing so early in the morning from your neck of the woods. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
That's great. And Nora.
Good morning. So I'm not drinking champagne, but I do have a champagne glass to toast.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Nora. And where are you hailing from, darling?
I am in Washington, D.C. today.
Wow. And you're doing some remarkable things in the world, too. Share with everybody.
Oh, goodness. Well, I just had an awesome time guest posting for Deborah Oakland's wonderful site, Living Encouraged. So that was a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead over there. And then Jess Duell, who many of you know is absolutely fabulous, and she and I are starting our own company too. So we've been doing a lot of celebrating as of late, and it is called Infusion Principle. You'll get to hear more about it really soon. We're having a lot of fun as well.
Well, Nora, you have always been supporting women everywhere since the day, I'm sure from very early on in your life, you were absolutely taking care of women, supporting them, bringing them words of wisdom and advice. I just know that your feminine energy is rocking it in the world, so thank you.
Well, I will give credit to my father. He's the one that taught me well. He's a massive supporter of women. So.
Wow, how great is that? And, Goddess Sheila, I know you had a really great rockin' hat on, but anyway, she has, if you saw it in the film strip, you know that red hat was amazing. And Sheila Pearl, a truly inspirational goddess in the world who shares wisdom on relationships, on love, on finding your true purpose, on living a fully expressed life, and just really embracing the fact that it's never, ever, ever too late to pursue your dreams. And, you do one dream and you move on to the next, and that's what Sheila talks about. Sheila's trying to come from her iPhone today, and I know that can be a real challenge sometimes. So, anyway, back to the show. I want to talk some more about the challenge of celebrating our own accomplishments, because as women, it's just so great and so easy to go out there and share what everybody else is doing and celebrating what everybody else is doing. But I know for myself, this is a wonderful moment to practice what I preach and to have a launch party to celebrate my new venture and adventure. But I'd love to hear from folks in the room what they have done to sort of overcome the challenge of, of celebrating their work and what they do. Who wants to start?
Can you hear me, Andy?
I can hear you.
Yay! That's Blair. I'm back.
Blair's back. Yay, Blair. So share, Blair.
Well, I don't know if you can see this because I don't know how it works, but I brought my special glass that says Mazel Tov, bitches. Mazel Tov to you, Andy, the possibility partner and goddess. Thank you for helping us and women everywhere celebrate their accomplishments. It has been inbred into the culture that we are often shamed out of celebrating ourselves, and then sometimes when we try to, it appears that we're bragging or calling attention to ourselves in a negative way. And I'd like to say that as I've gotten to know you, Andy, you model so beautifully celebrating women and yourself. And I think that the more women have models of people saying, hey, I've got a fabulous offering, I love what I do, and are able to celebrate that and translate it to other people, the more women will step up and feel confident in doing it. So, Mazel Tov, bitches. And, I'm glad you can hear me.
Yay!
So that I got to say that.
Who else wants to jump in and talk about this?
I'll jump in. First of all, Andy, it's Cherie Valentine, and I just got to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have been an inspiration, a friend, a colleague, a supporter, and it is because I have friends like you in my life that I have learned to be excited about who I am and what I do and what I share, because you've mirrored back to me so beautifully what I could not see sometimes on my own, so thank you for that.
Oh, gosh, that sounds like a Maya Angelou quote right there. I'm telling you, this is why I really wanted to share her quotes. And let me just pull up one right here from Tracy Baker, where she says, she has so many favorites, but try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. How beautiful is that, right? Nice. Okay, and I'll just undo that because I'm comment tracker. Oh, and look who's back with her hat. So let's just take a moment and say hello to Sheila. Look at that. Oh, my gosh,
Good morning. Good morning. It is my red, voluptuous hat.
Sheila, tell everybody what you do and how you share your gifts with the world.
Well, I am a relationship coach, so I help people to connect, reconnect, repair, design, and create loving relationships at any stage of life, especially over 50. And I'm in the midst of completing my book, Ageless and Sexy, Finding Magic in Your Relationships in the New Midlife. And I like to redefine midlife as 45 to 85.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so I'm dedicated to literally juicy living at any stage and age of life.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's all about identifying your fountain of youth, and I like to say you're sitting on it.
That's perfect, Sheila. And you started life off as a singer, right?
I did, and I'm still a singer, but I'm more a speaker and a teacher and a coach now. But yes, right. I began as a singer, yes. And so, yeah.
And I've had, Sheila on podcasts, and I've had her on Hangouts before, and she has, led us in song, and really that's something Maya Angelou has done before. In fact, one year at the Simmons School of Management's annual leadership program back in the 90s, we had Maya, and I was part of the crew that worked on the event. And she arrived, and then she went to the bar, and we watched her pour down 4 shots of scotch. And then she goes out to do her speech, and she starts singing. We're thinking, oh, no, she's drunk. But no, that's how a lot of times she started her speeches, was with a wonderful song. So,
yeah. Well, as you know, Andy, one of my theme songs is Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Way Up High, birds fly over the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I? And I'm really convinced that there is always a rainbow. And at the end of every adversity, and there's always a pot of gold at the end of every rainbow. We just have to be willing to look for it and to see it in different forms.
Wonderful. Oh, thank you so much, Sheila. And now, Ms. Deborah, what do you do to lift yourself up and celebrate your deliciousness? And with your book coming out, too, it's going to be, because you're so good at celebrating everybody.
Oh, thank you. I'm just excited to be here with all of you on this launch day. This is a celebration.
Yay.
I just feel like celebrating life every day. It's just what we do.
Awesome.
But I am going to read my Maya quote now, if that's okay with you.
I would love that. Thank you, Ms. Deborah.
In the flush of love's light, we dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love costs all we are and will ever be. Yet it is only love which sets us free.
Thank you.
And I'll post that on Google Plus right after.
Oh, thank you for that. That was so beautiful. And
I'm such a mentor to me.
Oh, I'm going to share. Here's Leela Martin. Her favorite quote I've learned, and of course we all know this one very well. I've learned that people forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel. And I feel that everybody in this room does a remarkable job at boosting people up in the world and sharing their gifts and their magic to help others and lifting them up. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Kaylin, I know you have the same challenges I do as far as, tooting your own horn. What do you do to help overcome that?
So it was very appropriate that you just shared Leela's favorite Maya quote, because that's my favorite Maya quote. And because it can be really hard to celebrate your own accomplishments. I know, for example, just yesterday, I was texting with a girlfriend saying, I was so lazy today and now I feel guilty. Right? Very typical for me. And then meanwhile, I go on to tell her, oh, and I finished that project that I have to present to the board on Wednesday night. And I thought, what is the matter with me? I just didn't get enough done to satisfy that inner voice telling me, oh, you could have done more. You shouldn't have sat around and watched TV with your sons or, whatever it was. So that particular Maya quote, I've learned that people will forget, what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. For me, it's about making sure that I create friendships and surround myself with other people who are willing to remind me of that so that I can continue to be reminded of my own worth, right? Because otherwise I forget it and it slips away and the inner voices begin to take over. So
I'm sure many of us here in the room and in the comment threads can relate totally to that and the feeling that I haven't done enough. I'm all about celebrating, stopping the glorification of being busy, right? That's something I'll be working on going forward. Here's a local goddess in the Boston area, Robin Mather, and her favorite quote is, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Oh, that's a good la one. La. Boy, that's a really good one. Thank you, Robin, for that. What about you, Lisa Engels? I mean, for a while, Lisa was like Forrest Gump in the movie, running everywhere. She was so committed to running. Tell everybody about that, Miss Lisa.
About my running?
Yeah, because you had a wonderful transition around that.
Yeah, well, I'm a runner. Running is my spiritual cardiotherapy. That's what I always say. And yeah, everything began for me as a runner when I was a kid, and I ran through high school and college and became a running and triathlon coach. And in my late 20s, that transitioned more into well, I had this obsession, right, in the beginning with physical potential. What is my greatest physical potential? That sort of shifted into, well, not just my physical potential, but what is human potential? And then the shift for me now at this point in my life and my coaching has been into, okay, not just physical potential and human potential, but social potential. So sort of taking it bigger. That's sort of like a little snippet of that. But I want to put in my favorite Maya Angelou quote. Okay. Well, I mean, there's so many because, you know, she has a million. But one of the ones that I thought was really fitting for today is, I learned a long time ago that the wisest thing I can do is be on my own side, be an advocate for myself, and then others like me. And you know what the truth is, as a coach for so many years, especially when I was coaching triathletes and runners, and I would get the really, really high elite level athletes who would always be like, oh, I only got second place, and oh, I could have gone 3 seconds faster. Nobody likes people after a certain amount of time. Not that nobody likes them, but it just gets boring to hear people self-deprecate themselves. Right. And I had to look at myself too and go, well, where am I not celebrating myself? And why? Why aren't I? And it came down, you know, this whole investigation of inquiry of ourselves. And why am I like that? You know, in the end, it came out I didn't believe that I was worthy and deserving. Hello. Right. I mean, we all have that one to some degree.
and I think too, what happens is that because I hear you, when some people start self-deprecating all the time, it's like, no, you're amazing, and it's okay to share that, and it's okay to share the good as well. Yeah. And your favorite quote?
It was I learned a long time, the wisest thing that I can do is be on my own side, be an advocate for myself, and then others like me.
There you go. Right. See, I just love that. And Stephanie Callahan, who's just so much fun on all the social media platforms, she put out several, but I don't know how to get down to the other one. I don't know if there's a scroll down part or how to make it work. But she has a third one, which is, if I am not good to myself, how can I expect anyone else to be good to me? And I think, again, that's something that we need to work on as entrepreneurs, to remember to be really good to ourselves and share the love for ourselves as well as others. And Nora, you know, I know that you posted a quote. What do you have?
Oh, what? That was not the one I posted.
I know.
So my favorite one is, the quality of strength lined with tenderness is an unbeatable combination.
Oh, see, that's so perfect for you. I mean, you know, because it would, and again, I will celebrate Nora right now. She's an amazing photographer. She, again, is always out there championing women everywhere. But, you know, just one more thing, Nora, because I do want to put the spotlight on you for a second. I know you're not feeling well today. I'm so grateful that you're here. But anybody who has circled Nora on Google Plus knows that she is always bringing wonderful gloriousness to everybody. So again, I just want to highlight that. Thank you. And I think you have another one up here, Nora, too, that I saw. I believe the most single thing beyond discipline and creativity is daring to dare. Wow. As entrepreneurs, you know, I think we struggle with that a lot too, is just getting the courage up to do something. Oh, I know I need to do that, or I want to do that, or I feel compelled to do it, but I'm afraid. And I don't think it's about being fearless. I think it's about holding the hands of fear and doubt and moving forward, even though you're feeling really uncertain. What do you think about that, Ms. Blair Glazer? I see you shaking your head.
Well, well, let me tie it into my quote, because I think it's really related, which is that when people tell you who they are, listen. She said that, and it's extremely simple, and we all know it. And when you're looking to make connections, when you're growing your business, when you're seeing what clients you want to work with, when you are making connections for whatever reason, even if it's in your personal life, people will tell you who they are. And how do you listen to it? Do you listen to it? What happens when you don't? Go ahead.
Right. Well, Oprah always said the first time. I think that's what she added onto that quote, Blair. How do you get it right the first time? I mean, I think that's really hard.
It's really
especially
hard.
if you see the light in everybody and you see their full potential and they're being very clear about who they are, maybe not being honoring or something.
Well, I think that's such an important point for women, too, is that we are, by nature, sometimes people pleasers, and we do like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but to have that entrepreneurial edge, we also need to just bring our badass crone and be able to really hear who people are, see who people are, and be able to make choices around how we want to interact with them based on that. So.
That's awesome. And Eva, here I am over here, comment tracking working here. Eva had the same thing. And again, anybody out there, you must circle Eva. She's amazing, amazing, amazing. And turn that off, da-da-da-da-da. Now, a lot of times, too, as entrepreneurs, we need to inspire ourselves, right? I mean, we have to get up every day. We're creating our life. We're leading people if we have employees or vendors that we're working with, outsourced folks, etc. Our tribe we're leading. And we need to inspire ourselves. So I'd love to go around the room and find out from each of you, what do you do to cheer yourself up and say, I can do it? And you go first, Ms. Sheila.
Okay, well, I was just looking at one of my favorite quotes, which I remind myself of since the name of my practice is Loving Relationships. And I really do believe that love is all there is and everything else is a distraction, because I kind of lead with that with myself as well. And as Jim Carrey said in a recent commencement speech, either you got fear or you got love. And so I remind myself of Maya Angelou saying, love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. And I would put, rather than hope, I would add the word trust, somehow reminding myself that fear is false evidence appearing real, and that I owe myself the benefit of the doubt in terms of my own capacity. And even though I don't have the evidence in front of me, I know I have within me the ability to create abundance, to generate the work that I'm doing, to be of service to others. And when I'm feeling most alone and most despair is when I go within. There are several in our group today who are experts at that. I go within, I tune in to myself, and then I also go without. I reach out to others that I think might need to be lifted up by me. It's often said that when you're most depressed, you need most to be of service to others. So I notice when I'm in that pit that I'll think of someone. I go within. I ask Spirit, who needs to hear my voice today?
Oh, that's a nice one, Sheila.
And I reach out to someone, which lifts me up as I lift them up, because none of us are really in this alone.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And I think I'm going to just have to agree with Dave Moore here. All this awesomeness in one hangout, what a great group of women. And I think he also has, says we should bottle this up somewhere. Here we go.
I just read that, Andy. He did say that. Something about,
take
this group, bottle it, sell it, and heal the world.
Thank you, Dave Moore. Thank you so very much. And of course, thank you to one of my faves out there, Marion Mead. Oh, thank you, darling. I appreciate you so very much. And of course, everybody who knows this amazing, generous goddess in the world, Mia Voss. How are you? Mwah, 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 Mia. Thank you for doing amazing work in the world, especially around Google Plus and all the social media platforms. You support people everywhere. I really appreciate you. So, Nora, what do you do to get yourself revved up, especially when you're feeling poorly from the flu? Go back to bed, right?
Yes, sometimes that's the perfect plan. I think it's just surrounding yourself with really great people. Phil Boyer and I were hanging out last night, and he canceled all my morning meetings and was like, no, you're sleeping in so that you're fresh and ready to go for Andy's show, and just tell me what else I can do to support you. And I think it really is surrounding yourself with people like that who will pick up the slack when you can't, and who inspire you to do better and kinder things than you already do.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that. And Goddess Lisa.
Yeah, I think for me, when I'm feeling down, it's a practice that I have and that I give my clients all the time. And the practice is to believe in the truth, regardless of outer appearances. And that in and of itself is a practice. But when I go back to that, it always recenters me. It's like a recalibration. And I think actually, Maya Angelou has a quote about that as well. She says, there's a world of difference between truth and facts. Facts can obscure the truth. So sometimes we get caught up in what's happening around us, and we have all these facts to prove, that we should be feeling this way or that way. And yet if we go back to what the truth really is, which I think Sheila was saying, is that it's all love. It's sort of just going back to the truth of the matter, and it all just brings you back to like, okay. But it is a practice, which is it's a practice, and I believe that we're all on this journey of practicing this stuff too.
Well, I want to do a few shout outs to some more wonderful folks that I just love and adore. Here's Gail Harris. She's a local goddess. And of course, we were talking about what happens when you don't share your story. Thank you for swinging by, Gail. And then, of course, Todd Smith. You are so amazing. I've been with Todd on Google Plus for a year and a half, and I just love and adore you. Thank you for this wonderful quote there. And then up in Canada, we have Corinna. Thank you, darling. I'm so glad you liked my Elton John glasses. Thank you. They're my favorite. All right, Kaylin, so what do you do, darling, to spruce yourself up, not just by putting on the boa? And can you show those opera gloves one more time? I mean, come on. Oh, God, that's so great.
Only for you, Andy, only for you. I saved them special for Andy. My opera gloves.
So what do you do to inspire yourself?
I learned something the first time I worked with a coach, actually, a life coach. And I find it to be a very beneficial practice. He made me write down, and it probably came from Jack Canfield. It's probably part of the Success Principles, right? It's a great book. Is to write down, as far back as you can remember, all your successes. So I started as far back as I could remember, and it was, getting the blue ribbon in this foot race in 4th grade, and every little thing I could think of. And as you kept going, you started to realize that it's not the really big things that, everyone has the right to celebrate the really big things, and you're really proud of them, but it's all the little things too that happen day in and day out that are really worth celebrating.
Absolutely.
Right? As long as you take the time to be in that moment, and be aware.
Now,
they're all worth celebrating.
Do you know that funny comedian, is it Loretta LaRoche, who cheers you for getting out of bed? You got out of bed! Yay!
Exactly, because there were several options there, right?
Right.
Nora knows you could not get out of bed. You could just roll over, switch to the other side. There were so many options.
Or,
but I got out of bed today.
In corporate America, the copier worked, or the printer. There's or my coffee is delicious today. I mean, I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but I got to tell you, sometimes it's just, wow. You got to add the little drama. And I just want to do a shout out to my dear local pal, Karen Jones, who I saw at the gym this morning, which was great because she gave me a big old hug. Hiya, Karen. Great to see you. She does remarkable things in helping women love men and understand men and have scrumptious relationships with men. So I love her work in the world, and I often call her when I'm having trouble with my own darling and trying to understand what is it about him? She helps me get right on track. So, Deborah, darling Deborah, what do you do other than, your coffee and looking out at the beautiful Laguna Beach area to inspire yourself every day?
Yeah, the ocean's right here. Well, when I wake up in the morning, the most important thing for me is to immerse myself in love and sit in meditation in that space to start my day out right, because if I don't, it doesn't flow as easily as I would like. And also encouraging ourselves as women to step outside the box, to be as authentic as we can and support other women, because this is our time on the planet. We are the ones that are going to make huge, huge shifts for everything, for everyone. And I love to write. Oh, I just found another Maya Angelou that I love. Hang on.
Okay. Share it.
The idea is to write it so that people hear it and it slides through the brain and goes straight to the heart.
Oh, that's perfect. And that's perfect for you too, Deborah. Thank you. Living in Courage. Again, visit Living in Courage online. I'm just going to do a little plug for Deborah and get her newsletter, because I'm telling you, she gets wonderful writers like Nora Whalen to share a theme every month, plus she also expands on a theme every month, and she's just wonderful. Hey, a gal who brings so much laughter to our lives is out there. Elaine, how you doing? And Blair, she's clinking glass to your Mazel Tov bitches. That is so funny. Good morning. Thank you for hopping on and sharing the love with all of us today, Elaine. Okay, Cherie Valentine. I know.
Well, first of all, I'm going to wave my little goddess wand at you and everyone out there. Thanks for coming to join us. When I need inspiration, and I connect to the earth, I connect to the sky, I connect to source, and I really just ask to be filled with light, with love, with spirit, with joy. And just taking a moment to do that just totally will reset me. And then I remember to be grateful for being awake, for being alive, for the possibility that's in front of me. And I ask to help me to not waste one precious moment, but to be present in service and love and joy. And just reconnecting to that source just will totally get me going. And
I love it.
I need to get going some days.
And I know from personal experience that you also, by helping others, I think everybody in this room, sometimes we get inspired by helping others on their journey, and we are inspired by each other. So I want to thank all of you for doing that. And Cherie, your ability to tap people into feeling good about themselves. For people who don't know what EFT is, would you do a quick little explanation?
Oh, I will. Yes, I'm going to actually show you because it's really good to see. But we literally tap on the endpoints of the meridian system in our bodies while we're speaking. And I love to encourage people to speak all the crap that's really true and that they think is true, because I think what happens is we hold on to all the stuff and try to be who we think we're supposed to be and all the goodness, and we kind of resist just allowing ourselves to express what's true for us. And once you express all that anger and crap and I'm no good and why'd I mess up and all those kind of things, it's gone. It's free. We let it go. It flushes through our body. It flushes through our thoughts and mind. And then we can go in and really see the truth of the joy of who we are and the expansion of who we are. So I kind of go back and forth between I give people, I said, this is your time. This is permission to be as negative as you need to be, but only if you're tapping. and it just really helps to peel away and make room for what's underneath, which is all that wonderful
truth. And then you put in the good words. I'm
absolutely.
Amazing.
Yep, absolutely, and kind of reset.
And it really works wonders with your neuropaths as well in your brain, and you replace the negative thought with the positive thoughts and the positive self-talk to yourself, which is so key.
Well, we're breaking those patterns. We have these patterns of these experiences from childhood and throughout that get stuck. And then the thoughts become repetitive, and then we think they're true and real, and they create the neural pathways that then become into our cells. And so by tapping and allowing ourselves to feel what we're feeling, we literally break those patterns. We release them, we flush them out, we let them go. So now there's more room for us to create those new beliefs, thoughts, and patterns that are really more true for us, which is all the positive things.
Right.
And
I love that. And speaking of positive things, before we move on to Blair, I want to share Maggie's wonderful comment here. I find that when I try to celebrate my accomplishment with others, people often think I'm trying to rub it in. Why is that? And that's not the case at all. It made me want to celebrate by myself, but let me tell you, wine and chocolate make great party companions. And I think everybody understands that. Oh, I don't want to rub it in. I've just got all this great good fortune going on, We understand, Maggie, completely. Okay, Ms. Blair, what do you do to inspire your gorgeous, delicious self?
Well, I just got to take in all this incredible wisdom of what the women in this hangout are doing, going within, reaching out and helping other people, remembering gratitude. I just think that all of these tools are so useful and rich. As a teacher of leadership, though, I recognize that it's really those rough times that build our character. Without them, we're not able to test who we really are. And so sometimes when I'm just absolutely feeling like, what is the point? It's helpful for me to remember the stories of the leaders I work with and the leaders that have come before that have faced such hardship and gone through incredible, almost seemingly insurmountable problems and come out the other side. So that's one thing that helps. And the other thing that helps me when I'm really stuck is to reach out for help, is to talk to an elder or a wise person or a friend that will have some comfort and perspective that can help me shift in the direction that I'm going to get out of those patterns that Sherry and others were talking about, out of the stories that we create. Sometimes it just takes another wise person to bounce you out of that. And I know, Andy, that you are that for many people.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to watching that grow.
Thank you. And one of the ways that I inspire myself is that I have a little sacred space. I have some fun crystals, some wonderful feathers, a candle, some quotes, and it's where I go every day and light a candle and ask that I be guided. And sometimes it's to be guided, to be uplifted, or please, send someone my way to uplift me. And I think Blair is absolutely right in being able to reach out to others when you need them to hold up a mirror and remind you who you are, because, we don't get out from having human experiences. We are humans. And I loved your point, Blair, about adversity being such great teachers. It really is. I don't fight adversity. I embrace it and say, wow, I'm developing a deeper relationship with myself as a result.
And with your tools to run your business, really.
Right.
Because, yeah.
Right. So I just want to let everybody know who's watching, how it came to be for me to switch gears, and we all switch gears. Entrepreneurs, we have different dreams. We glop onto one thing. I mean, I know Blair was producing. You were involved with the Vagina Monologues for years, right?
I ran the Vagina Monologues workshop, which was a sexuality empowerment workshop for women. And then, my private practice as a therapist was mostly filled with women. And I've graduated. Now I work with organizations and mostly couples. And that work transition has been intense. Yeah.
So we all have them. Lisa was talking about it earlier, and Sheila, we were all talking about how we've transitioned and moved. And Bring Back Desire came to me in a wonderful, beautiful way. I fought it for 2 years, I'll just say, given the topic, but I then said yes, and it was an amazing 3-year run. It's still live and involved and wonderful and all that, but it came to a point where I came to understand. Life brought me a lot of clues that I was complete, and it was time to go back to doing what I love best, which is sharing advice, really strong business strategy and solutions, etc., with other entrepreneurs who aren't able to see it at the time. A lot of times when we're working away, we know the problem's right there. We can practically taste it and touch it, but so I love chatting and brainstorming, and my gift is really being able to see the business for what it is and the entrepreneur for who he or she is, meaning where are they in alignment and how are they in the world, and bringing the strategies and solutions along with it. So that's what I'm doing over at possibilitypartners.biz, or you can type in andelyons.com and go learn all about the crazy wild things that I'll be doing and helping entrepreneurs have a phenomenal adventure. I want to also bring up a wonderful, just a howdy-do to a gal here on Google Plus, who we all love and adore, Suzanne Daigle. Feeling the love and energy in the gang. I agree 100%, Suzanne. This group is amazing. Oh, hold on. Oh, dear. I lost her, and now I can't unpin her. So I'm going to bring Blair up. Hi, Blair.
Hi.
Anybody else? I know. I tell you, the technology, I was doing so well. I've got to go find Suzanne's, just so everybody knows. Who would like to chat a little bit about transitions and have any final words that they'd like to share before I jump off and wrap this up and ask for the doggy bag and all that?
I would love to, if that's okay, Andy.
Yeah, go.
So, yeah, transitions. Like you, like Lisa, I think like all of us, it's totally been an evolution for me. And, I think I started out working with relationships, helping people find love. And although I loved that, it really wasn't the heart of what I wanted to do. And I just never would really trust that it was bigger than that. And, my name is Cherie Valentine. And so, all my marketing coaches and everyone I worked with was, no, you have to do the love thing. You have to look at your name. That's what you do. And so I kept going with it, creating, working with it. But in the meantime, bringing in healing, and I found what I was doing with a lot of these women was really healing past hurts and disappointments and helping them open to the possibility of what a healthy relationship could look like. So although I wasn't quite like, this isn't the picture, I was loving what I was doing and seeing the results as I continued to allow myself to be guided and grow and learn other energy healings and spirituality and bring it all together. And a couple years ago, when I got sick, as you know, that's always my clue. I'm not listening to something or somewhere, and I just got really still and went within and started to slowly embrace more of what I thought was my truth and why I was here, and let things just start to shift and unfold. And so I transitioned from this really masculine, I have to make everything happen, I have to make this work, I can't stop, I have to do what I'm told kind of thing, to really embracing more flow and ease and trust and being guided and tuning in and allowing myself to just go and see and receive, which is not something I know as women we do easily. Right. And that really happened so much. And so once I started to do that, I saw myself bringing different people toward me to work with me. And it was starting to shift from like mostly a lot of like deep trauma, really pain, to no, I'm pretty expansive and growing, but I know to keep doing that, there's a certain level of support that works for me and having someone hold space. So it's been really fun, I think, to allow myself to grow and transition, because I know there's been times when I'm like, oh no, how can I do that? I'm here. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is how people know me. I can't change that. And just like allowing it. I'm in the process now of like rebranding and reshifting, and it's not all done and it's not all put together. Yep. And a year ago, I would have never come on this show, because you know what? If you go to my website, it's not perfect yet. We haven't changed things. It's not completely updated. And I'm like, but you know what? I'm giving myself permission to let that be okay and just be present and enjoy this adventure. So
that's brilliant advice, Cherie. Really, it's the Seth Godin advice of just ship it. A lot of times, especially as gals, we get into the, is it perfect yet? Does the brand look exactly right? Just get out there and start sharing your gifts with the world. You can fine-tune things as you go along. I want to bring in Nazim. I mean, if you don't know him, circle him. What a delicious man out in the world, and he's absolutely right. The girl power on this platform is the best. HOAs from women are powerful and fun. Thank you for that, Nazim. And also, I'd like to, here's the poem that we all know the most from Maya Angelou that really celebrates all of us, which is the phenomenal woman. And I just, put it out there. I know Mia Voss has a wonderful live version link. Thank you, Eva, for sharing this in the comment thread. You all are very powerful, phenomenal women. All your curves and your edges and your perfect imperfections. Oh, I love that song. Anybody have any last thoughts before I get my doggy bag and get out of here?
I'll say something really quick about this idea of transitions. And I think that transitions just are the expression of our own evolution. They happen when we're ready to evolve into something new. And sometimes, well, I know for me, speaking for me, they're always scary, because we're challenged to dance with the unknown in that evolution that we're going into. At least for me, it's always been in this space of like, oh crap, I don't know if this is the right thing, but this feels like the direction I should go, but I don't know. So my current paradigm of reality gets really challenged, which brings up fears. But if I go back to that thing, of believing truth, regardless of appearances, I know that I'm in divine partnership and that I'm going to be carried through this transition for the greater good of myself and hopefully for the greater good of everybody in my life too. So this, I think what's beautiful about what you're doing, Andy, is we're witnessing right now your evolution. And it's beautiful to be a part of that. We are all evolving quickly right now. And these changes and these transitions might be coming up quicker and more often than they may have in the past. But that's a good thing. It's our awakening. It's the collective awakening, and we are in a collective experience right now of all of this. So I think we're all experiencing it, but I feel really blessed to be witness to your journey, Andy, and to allow us to be here and celebrate that with you. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
So Andy, I'd like to add a little something, could I?
Yes, my luscious red hat woman.
I'd like to use the metaphor of music, since music's been the centerpiece of my life, all my life, as a singer and musician. And it said that music is in the space between the notes. So music being the space between the notes, we know that music always comes from that place of nothing. That creativity that comes from an idea, that comes from nothing, right? And likewise, our transitions in ourselves and our lives. So to welcome that space in between, to welcome that place of uncertainty, that place of discomfort. No growth takes place in a comfort zone anyway. And we're always in transition if we want to be alive. And I remind myself, if I want guarantees, I don't want life. There's no such thing. So, you know, and so if I think of myself as singing my song always, and remind myself that every song is about the space between the notes that makes it magic, I welcome that in-between place, which is the transition.
Wow, what a beautiful thought to bring the show to completion. Thank you, Sheila Pearl.
You're
That
welcome.
was beautiful. Thank you, Nora and Lisa and Deborah and Blair and Kaylin and Cherie. Oh my gosh, did I get everybody for joining me today in this hangout and bringing such beautiful inspiration and wisdom to me and to everybody who's watching. I honor and treasure all of you so much. Thank you for celebrating. Thank you, everybody out in the threads. Oh my gosh, I love you all. You're amazing, and I'm so thrilled and honored that you came here. Look at Deborah with the boa, waving the boa, to celebrate today. And you know, one of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou is that we all have it in us to be splendid. All of us do, and I love celebrating your splendidness and everyone here and my own splendidness, and I just wish you all a delicious day filled with joy, love, and laughter, and I'll see you the next time. I haven't quite figured out when or what time I'll be doing my weekly Hangout on Air, but hey, it'll come to me, right? So I wish I had some music to go out by, but I'll put the Elton John glasses on again.
There you go.
For the celebration.
Fabulous.
And everybody, thank you, thank you,
thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everyone.
Big kiss for Andy. Mwah.
Mwah.
Okay. Thank you, and see you all out there in the plus and social media world.
Thank